Hi. In the past few years, I've been studying the impact of single motherhood as on Western societies, and I gathered some statistics that are quite revealing and that I would like to share with you. I think it's time for us to stop hiding our heads in the sand and start saying things the way they are. Facts don't care about feelings. I will provide those numbers in the description. Please share it with as many people as you can. And if we want to rebuild our societies and bring back some common sense, we have to start a discussion and act on it. So here we go. 63% of youth suicide are from fatherless homes, according to the U.S. Department of Health and Census. That's 5 times the average. 90% of all homeless and runaway children are from fatherless homes, according to the USDHHS Bureau of Census. That's 32 times the average. 85% of all children who show behavioral disorder come from fatherless homes, 20 times the average, according to the Center of Disease Control, the CDC. 80% of rapists motivated with displaced anger come from fatherless homes, according to the Criminal Justice and Behavior, Volume 14, page 403 to 426, report from 1978, probably higher now. 71% of all high school dropouts come from fatherless homes, 9 times the average, according to the National Principals Association report on the state of high schools. Okay, let's take a look at father factor in education. Fatherless children are twice as likely to drop out of school. Children with fathers who are involved are 40% less likely to repeat a grade in school. Children with fathers who are involved are 70% less likely to drop out of school. Children with fathers who are involved are more likely to get A's in school. Children with fathers who are involved are more likely to enjoy school and engage in extracurricular activities. 75% of all adolescents patients in chemical abuse centers come from fatherless homes, 10 times the average. Let's take a look at father factor in drug and alcohol abuse. Researchers at Columbia University found that children living in two parents' households with a poor relationship with their father are 68% more likely to smoke, drink, or use drugs compared to all teens in two parents' households. Teens in single mother households are at 30% higher risk than those in two parents' households. 70% of youth in state-operated institutions come from fatherless homes, 9 times the average, according to the U.S. Department of Justice, September 1988, probably higher now. 85% of all youths in prison come from fatherless homes, 20 times the average, according to Fulton Cove, Georgia, Texas Department for Correction. Now let's take a look at father factor in incarceration. Even after controlling for income, youths in father-absent households still had significantly higher odds of incarceration than those in mother-father families. Youths who never had a father in the household experienced the higher odds. A 2002 Department of Justice survey of 7,000 inmates revealed that 39% of jail inmates live in mother-only households. Approximately 46% of jail inmates in 2002 had a previously incarcerated family member. 1/5 experienced a father in prison or jail. Father factor in crime. A study of 109 juvenile offenders indicated that family structure significantly predicts delinquency. Adolescents, particularly boys in single-parent families, were at higher risk of status, property, and personal delinquencies. Moreover, students attending school with high proportion of children of single parents are also at risk. A study of 13,986 women in prison showed that more than half grew up without their father. 42% grew up in a single mother household, and 16% lived with neither parents. Father factor in child abuse. Compared to living with both parents, living in a single parent home doubles the risk that a child will suffer physical, emotional, or educational neglect. The overall rate of child abuse and neglect in single-parent household is 27.3 children per thousand, whereas the rate of overall maltreatment in two-parents households is 15.5 per thousand. That's almost double. Daughters of single parents without a father involved are 53% more likely to marry as teenagers, 711% more likely to have children as teenagers, 164% more likely to have a premarital birth, and 92% more likely to get divorced themselves. Adolescent girls raised in a two-parents home with involved fathers are significantly less likely to be sexually active than girls raised without involved fathers. 43% of U.S. children live without their fathers, according to the U.S. Department of Census. 71% of pregnant teenagers lack a father, according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, press release Friday, March 26, 1999. 90% of adolescent repeat arsonists live with only their mother, according to Ray Herbert, Dowsing the Kindlers, Psychology Today, January 1985, page 28. 75% of adolescents patients in chemical abuse center come from fatherless homes, according to Rainbow F for All God's Children. 70% of juvenile in state-operated institutions have no father. U.S. Department of Justice, Special Report, September 1988. 85% of youth in prison grew up in a fatherless home, according to Fulton County, Georgia, Jail Depopulation, Texas Department of Correction, 1992. Fatherless boys and girls are twice as likely to drop out of school, twice as likely to end up in jail, 4 times more likely to need help for emotional or behavioral problem. Okay, let's take a look at census fatherhood statistics now. Interesting. 64.3 million. That's the estimated number of fathers across the nation in the United States. 26.5 million. Number of fathers who are part of a married couple family with their own children under the age of 18. Among these fathers, 22% are raising 3 or more of their own children under 18 years old. Among married couple family households only, 2% live in the home of a relative or a non-relative. 2.5 million. That's the number of single fathers, up from 400,000 in 1970. Currently, among single parents living with their children, 18% are men. Among these fathers, 8% are raising 3 or more of their own children under 18 years old. 42% are divorced, 38% have never been married, 16% are separated, and 4% are widowed. The percentages of those divorced and never married are not significantly different from one another. 16% live in the home of a relative or a non-relative. 27% have an annual income of $50,000 or more. 85%. Among the 30.2 million fathers living with children younger than 18, the percentage who live with their biological children only, 11% live with stepchildren, 4% with adopted children, and less than 1% with foster children. Recent policies encourage the development of programs designed to improve the economic status of low-income non-resident fathers and the financial and emotional support provided to their children. This brief provides 10 key lessons from several important early responsible fatherhood initiatives that were developed and implemented during the 1990s and early 2000s. Formal evaluations of these early fatherhood efforts have been completed, making this an opportune time to step back and assess what has been learned and how to build on the early program's successes and challenges. While the following statistics are formidable, the responsible fatherhood research literature generally support the claim that a loving and nurturing father improves outcome for children, families, and communities. Children with involved, loving fathers are significantly more likely to do well in school, have healthy self-esteem, exhibit empathy and pro-social behavior, and avoid high-risk behaviors such as drug abuse, truancy, and criminal activity compared to children who have uninvolved fathers. Studies on parent-child relationships and child well-being show that father love is an important factor in predicting the social, emotional, and cognitive development and functioning of children and young adults. 24 million children, 34%, live absent their biological father. Nearly 20 million children, 27%, live in a single parent's home. 43% of first marriages dissolve within 15 years. About 60% of divorcing couples have children, and approximately 1 million children each year experience the divorce of their parents. Fathers who live with their children are more likely to have a close, enduring relationship with their children than those who do not. Compared to children born within marriage, children born to cohabiting parents are 3 times as likely to experience father absence, and children born to unmarried, non-cohabiting parents are 4 times as likely to live in a father-absent home. About 40% of children in father-absent homes have not seen their fathers at all during the past year. 26% of absent fathers live in a different state than their children, and 50% of children living absent their father have never set foot in their father's home. Children who live absent their biological father, on average, at least 2 or 3 times more likely to be poor, to use drugs, to experience educational, health, emotional, and behavioral problems, to be victims of child abuse, and to engage in criminal behaviors than their peers who live with their married, biological, or adoptive parents. From 1995 to 2000, the proportion of children living in single parents' homes slightly declined. These things may have changed in the last 18 years. While the proportion of children living with 2 married parents remains stable. That's all I got for now. If you have more statistic, maybe you can share it with us. I think it's time that we have a discussion about that. Stop the madness and try to bring back some sanity in this world. Thank you for listening. I'm waiting for your comments. Thank you.